Carol Jurgensen Sheets, aka Carol the Coach, and this is Boo. Boo, Boo, what you doing? We are here tonight to talk to you a little bit about anxiety because whether you're an addict or a partner, we know that you are plagued by anxiety. Listen to me, I'm saying we as if Boo and I know that. But what I do mean is that certified sexual addictions therapists and people that are in APSATs, clinical and coaching professionals that are partner specialists, we do know that there's a lot of anxiety and we want to help you with that. So I'm going to ask you to think about your situation, your level of anxiety. Now, I always say anxiety falls under the heading of fear. So you have fear, and then you have anxiety, and you have nervousness, and you have worry, and you have that physical aspect of not feeling right. And when you have any of those things, you have anxiety. Now, you may have normal anxiety because something's not right. You may have post-traumatic stress, which is an anxiety. You may have all your life, you may have had things that have occurred that have kept you off kilter. Were you sexually abused as a kid? Were you physically or emotionally abused? So those kind of situations lend themselves to this chronic level of anxiety. If you're one of the lucky people that didn't have that, good for you. Maybe the anxiety is just from having to be honest about who you are and about your impulses and about your sexual addiction. Or maybe it's the anxiety of being married to somebody and you're just not sure if they're going to walk their talk. Regardless, I'm going to talk to you about your anxiety as if sexual addiction did not even enter into the equation, whether you're a partner or an addict. What we do know is that there are 4 traits that perpetuate anxiety. And see if any of these sound like you. First and foremost, there is that need to control. When things have happened to you and you feel the need to control to make sure that nothing else can get to you, that lends itself to anxiety. And that is especially tough. Do you also feel like you need approval? So oftentimes addicts and partners think they're codependent. They feel that excessive need for approval, and they wonder if they're going to get it from the person that they love. Well, we're really moving away from codependency and that co-addict model if you're a partner. And if you're an addict, you may, in turning your life around, have decided that your course is solely determined by your partner. And I'm going to ask both of you to think about how you can feel better about yourself and what would it take to feel less anxiety. I'm going to ask you not to seek the approval of your partner, whether the partner is the addict or the partner, but to really hone in on what's right inside of you. That is oftentimes the most difficult task. What is right in here? I just had somebody share with me a big secret about what he was doing currently. I don't want to talk about the actual behavior, but I will tell you that he found it deplorable, but he kept doing it. And I said, gee, scale of 1 to 10, how much anxiety did that provoke? He said, a 10. I couldn't even begin to be my authentic self because I was too worried about being discovered. Now, fast forward to a partner. And what we know about partners is they've been so betrayed, their trust has been broken, and they're looking every which way to see when the next betrayal is going to occur. But when you get stable and when you know that you're working on living a life that is congruent with your own values, which has plenty of support, which oftentimes opens itself up to you figuring out what you want to do today, tomorrow, and in your future, very grounded, and the anxiety dissipates. Now, okay, we've heard that people that are prone to anxiety either have that excessive need for power and control, or they have that need for approval. The third type of anxiety that occurs is oftentimes that need for perfectionism. That may not be you, or it may be, because when you want to do everything perfectly, there is always that anxiety that says, it ain't going to happen. Or if it happens today, it won't happen tomorrow. And perfectionism is so hard to live up to. You know, I'm always giving resources, and for perfectionistic people, I ask them to read the 4 Agreements. It's a very little book. You can read it in an afternoon, even if you don't like to read. And it talks about doing your personal best. Nothing more, nothing less. So it takes away that desire to be perfect. And if you have that need to be perfect, you need to get to a therapist so that you can learn how to relax and learn how to accept yourself, flaws and all. You know, if you do 12-step work, you know to accept yourself, flaws and all, and yet to work towards being the best person you can be. All right, now that last trait that perpetuates anxiety happens to be a tendency to ignore your own physical self and symptoms. Now, this is something you probably don't know about me, Carol the coach, but I'm very prone to anxiety. And I kind of boast. I say, hey, you know what? My anxiety makes me a great employee. I do a really good job with my clients. If I have an opening, I always make sure if somebody's on the waiting list that they get in. I care. And I want to do the best job possible. That's where I use my anxiety in a positive way. But if I can't sleep at night, and if I have ruminating thoughts, and if I get startled really easily, and if I can't relax and enjoy the moment, if I can't stay in the moment or stay present, wow, that means I'm not listening to my body. And certainly for addicts and partners alike, you may experience that need to decompress, to meditate, to pray, to sit in silence. And those are all wonderful, wonderful things to do to help you to be in the moment. So pay attention to your body. And, when I work with people, I say, hey, where do you feel your anxiety? I feel it on my shoulders. I feel it in my heart. I feel it in my gut. I feel it all over. So after we talk about that, I oftentimes say, what color would you give it? Maybe it's red, maybe it's black, maybe it's orange. Matters not, but whatever your color is, I'm going to ask you to take some nice deep breaths and breathe in a color that represents serenity, peace, happiness, joy, and breathe out that color that represents stress, perfectionism, depression, and really work on grounding yourself. That's called resourcing, and it is so important that you resource and make your life manageable. You own the power to make your life manageable. And you know what? We don't have to be perfect. We don't have to control. We don't have to seek others' approval. But we do have to listen to ourselves. We have to listen to our body. We have to listen to our mind. And when there are ruminating thoughts, we need to go to a CSAT or an APSAT and figure out how to stop those thoughts. It's actually called a technique that we reference as thought stopping. So I find that it's oftentimes the best to be imperfect. That's why I always have Boo in my videos. I want you to know that I've got this great dog and he's just a part of me. And I want you to know, even if I'm sounding like this, I've got some sort of allergy thing going on, I come in and I'm going to treat you to a video that I think will help your life. Boo, come on up here. And I want you to accept yourself exactly as you are. Get into a program, talk to a specialist who gets this, and make your life. Create your life. Create the life you deserve. You deserve it, and you can work through your anxiety, and you can use it to your best ability, and then you can discard the rest. I am Carol Jurgensen Sheets, aka Carol the Coach. Take a listen to my internet radio show every Monday night at 9 o'clock on sexual addiction and partner trauma. And we'll catch you again for easy to understand tips on how to make your life more manageable. Have a great week.